Hey guys, it's Dark Stalker 101 here, and today I decided. Wait, let me actually lock my door. Today I decided. Well, not today, but tonight was the final episode of Breaking Bad. Now, let me just say this video I had to make it under 15 minutes because last time it kind of was really shitty because I took too long and had to cut out certain parts just to make it fit to 15 minutes. So now I'm gonna make sure that this one's actually really good. So yeah, where to start with this episode? This episode was, I think, a lot slower in the beginning than people expected. I expected it to be really slow because I expected it tying up a lot of loose ends. So yeah, I don't really know what really happened to some of the people, because there's a couple of endings in here that are a little bit cliffhanger, and you don't really know what really happens to them too much. But let's go ahead and talk about it, because yeah, I gotta hurry because of the time limit. Bullshit ass time limit. So let me just say this show has been a ride. It has been pretty amazing. A really great show. And I actually don't watch too much TV, and I started watching this show in the middle of Walking Dead Season 2. I was like, you know what, I'll check out Breaking Bad. And I thought I'd watch it on the side. It's like, oh, a little thing on the side I'll watch. It ended up taking over Walking Dead, and I don't even watch I don't even compare Walking Dead to this anymore because they're on two different levels, but they actually are, because one's a zombie show, one's about a dude that, is a kingpin of, meth and all that, so they're completely different. Just because they're on AMC doesn't mean you need to compare them, but when it comes to comparing them about writing and stuff, so many people say Walking Dead's better, but when it comes to writing and story and tying up loose ends and everything, in my opinion, Breaking Bad is a whole lot better. But anyway, so let's go with this episode. Since this was the last episode, I expected it to be I expected it to be Walt tying up everything, and he pretty much did. He goes to Gretchen and Elliot, and I expected him to kill them, but he actually didn't. He has a laser pointer, he points it at him, or wait, what the fuck? Okay, let me step back, I kind of was just talking without thinking. So what he does is he goes to Gretchen and Elliot's house, and he walks in behind him, and what I thought he was going to do is he was going to kill him, but he actually didn't. He asked him for help for something out of the back of his car, and of course they're all scared, but they help him anyway. And it's all the money is in the back of his car, and they give it to him. They take it out of the back of, his trunk, and they put it on the table, and Walt just says, I want you to give this to Flynn and all them, and then, of course, Gretchen, being the bitch she is, she's all rich, she doesn't care. She doesn't want to do it or whatever, and she's kind of pissed off, and then Walt, he said, why don't you look out the window or whatever, and then there's two laser pointers, and I expected it to be like this, but I wasn't really sure. I was like, I wonder if those are even real snipers. I thought, when I first saw that, in a split second, I thought, I wonder if those are real snipers, but I'm like, nah, they're I meant to say, whenever I first saw that, I thought they were fake, I thought, because have you ever seen what's that movie? The movie 30 Minutes or Less, at the end of that movie, they use a sniper like that. That's one of my favorite movies too, really funny, but they use a sniper like that, with a laser pointer, and pretend it's like a sniper, and do the same thing, and I had a feeling they were going to do that, but I wasn't completely sure. I was like, they might not do that. And turns out they did, and I thought that for a split second. I'm like, I wonder if they're even real, because he does, how does he even have money to even pay for them? But I'm like, nah, whatever. But it turns out they weren't even real. It was just, Badger and Skinny Pete, which is cool that they brought him back, though. I forgot, too. I was like, what about that one fat dude? And then I remembered right now when I was just about to say that, I was like, yeah, because during the episode, I thought that. I was like, where's that one fat dude combo? And then I'm like right now, I just remembered, I'm like, oh, yeah, he died. And yeah, he died, and then Jesse took heroin, yeah, because I was watching a thing on it earlier. Kind of like a recap. I was watching a 2-hour recap. I didn't have time today though because I had a lot of stuff to do. But yeah, but yeah, this was So he does that, and then what he does is then later on he goes to visit Skylar. And when he visits her, he tells her, he says I did it, because what happens is he goes. And he's like Michael Myers pretty much. In this episode, he just shows up everywhere, and he's kind of creepy. He just shows up random places, and they don't even know how he got in there. He just does. It doesn't matter. He's like Michael Myers. He'll show up wherever because he's smart enough to do that. But he shows up at Skylar's new house. It's a new house. It's not their old house anymore. I guess because they're old. I forgot about that actually too. I'm like, oh yeah, their old house is taken down. I was like, why isn't she in her old house? And wasn't paying any attention. Then I remembered it's because of the fact that, that's their old house is all messed up or whatever, and Heisenberg written all over it, and it's impounded by the police. So what he does is, he goes and he talks to Skylar, and Skylar's all sad and stuff because he gives her a lottery ticket that says this is where Hank and them are buried. Use it to barter your way out. So he basically saves Skylar, which she already knew that he was trying to save her, but now he really did because he gave her that so he could use it as so she could use it as bargaining, so she can get out of the situation, and her and all of them would just be free. So that was good of him to give her that and kind of set her free, since it's not even really her fault that he went and did that. It was more his fault. But yeah, really mature decision on his thing. I mean, instead of just being like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna die, who cares? He actually cares still about her. And I felt that was just a really heartwarming moment. I didn't cry at that part. I didn't cry at any part in this episode. I don't know why. I don't really cry that much anymore on stuff. So I didn't really cry that much on this episode, but it definitely was a really sad episode. When I saw that, I was like, oh man. And then he goes and goes to his daughter, and he starts, I almost said petting her. No, he goes and starts rubbing her head or whatever, and I was like, oh man. But yeah, so then that part is tied up, and then he's about to walk off, and he sees Flynn come back, and he just kind of walks off. He leaves it at that. I'm guessing he kind of expects Skylar to kind of go and tell him that, your father wasn't a bad guy, this and that. That's what I forgot to mention too. He tells her, he says, I didn't do it, or he's like, I did it for this reason, and then she's like, don't say you did it for the family, and then he's like, I didn't, I did it for me, which in a way is kind of true. I don't think that was really true though in the first couple seasons. Well, okay, it was true. I think whenever Walt first started cooking meth, actually, no. Let me take that back. He always did say he was doing it for his family, but I actually do kind of think now that it's kind of split. I kind of think in a way he was doing it for his family on the first, and on the first episode, but then after the first episode, he kind of started to like the lifestyle. You get what I'm kind of saying? Like, he was like, this is exciting. It's better than kind of washing cars and being a teacher for the next couple of years of my pathetic life. That makes him sound really, really like a really sad dude, but you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I think in a way I think on the first episode he did it for his family. Then after that, the lifestyle, he enjoyed it kind of. It was exciting, especially after he killed Gus Fring. The lifestyle was, it was like an exciting lifestyle, and he really did do it for himself. In the beginning of season 5, it was really about him, because it was more about pride than about his family at that point. Maybe season 1, it was more about his family, a little bit season 2, but I think once he got into about season 3, and especially at the end of season 4 and after, I think it was more about him. And because it gave him a powerful feeling that I think he never had before, because he was always getting pushed around and never really took advantage of anything. So yeah, there's that. He goes up. I kind of want to speed through this because I'm running out of time, but he kind of goes up to Lydia and he starts talking to her, asks her for money. She says no, and he ends up poisoning her. And you could tell whenever she pours it into her, because she has a sugar packet. You can tell because he meets up with Lydia and he meets up with Todd, where they had met in Granite State last week. And it makes sense that Walt would know where to put the rice in and stuff like that, because I guess he could kind of scope out where they were at. And she always sits at the same spot. If you notice that in the series, Lydia, since they first started going to that place, she always sits at the same spot. So it's pretty easy for him to just go in there, see it, open a sugar packet, put that in there, and then put it in there, because, Lydia's own kind of really structured lifestyle kind of destroyed her in a way, because she always gets everything the same. She needs to keep everything in line, and if she doesn't, then she starts freaking out. And in a way, just kind of like Gus, how he had that pride and all that was kind of her downfall. Her characteristics of being really, really mousy and being really like, oh, I got to keep this together. Stuff can't get out of control. I need to keep everything under control. That whole little thing kind of was her downfall. Same as, like I said with Gus. So that happens, and then later on, So what he had did is he had built a kind of rig so that it moved back and forth, kind of like a sweeping kind of motion, like it was turning left, right, and stuff. And he put the gun on that, the M60, and he goes to, Jack, Uncle Jack, and he well, they call him Uncle, but he goes there, and he has it set to the keys. So what he does is halfway through, he presses the keys, he jumps on Jesse, because they bring Jesse up to him, and he jumps on top of Jesse, and he, his M60 kills everybody, and he goes up to Jack, and he has a pistol, and Jack's like, you want your money, and you got to keep me alive. He just goes, shoots him, because I guess he's kind of like, there's no more playing around anymore, I'm done, I don't care. Then this is what I figured what would happen. He slides the gun to Jesse, and it was almost like Vince Gilligan did this as like a cock tease. I was like, oh my god, I think I figured out the ending right, I think I got it, I think Jesse's gonna kill Walt, and he slides the gun to Jesse, the pistol, and Jesse grabs the gun and he points it at Walt, and then he says, and this was really heartwarming because they've been together for so long. You think Jesse would have just went boom, just would have went and shot him, but he asks him, he says, tell me that you want this and I'll do it. Tell him, or he says, I won't do it till you tell me that you want this, and he says, I want this. Instead of just shooting him, you could tell that they still kind of cared about each other, and I think that was really like a kind of, just a really like heartwarming moment. You could kind of tell that, Jesse still cared about him, and that Walt still cared about Jesse. But Jesse doesn't do it, though. He puts a gun down, which really, I think it's good he didn't do that, because he would have been really fucked up after. And he takes the car. He goes outside, he takes the car, he looks at Walt one last time, gets in the car, and drives off forever. And the guy Aaron Paul is actually coming out with a new movie, Need for Speed, and maybe that's actually the thing. Maybe Jesse drives off, and then later on goes into Need for Speed. I don't know, but I'm glad Jesse got away. But then Walt kind of walks around, and he goes back to where they were cooking. I actually don't know how he knew where that was. I guess he maybe saw it because it was open, the warehouse. But he goes to where Jesse had been cooking, and all that stuff that he had before, he kind of goes up to it, and he starts kind of just like looking at it, like for one last time. Oh, that's what I also forgot to tell too. So when the M60 started shooting, Walt jumped on top of Jesse to protect him, and he ended up getting hit. Okay, so I'm back. But yeah. So what ends up happening though is later on I kind of lost my train of thought. I just got interrupted. I gotta kind of hurry up and wrap this up. But yeah, so he ended up getting shot. Well, ended up getting shot, and then he's standing there looking at all the equipment of meth and stuff, and he just kind of like, you look at him and he falls over and he dies. Thus ending Breaking Bad. This was probably one of the greatest shows I think I've ever seen of all time. It just, it's just, like, a show is good. Like, there's been shows and stuff that I've never really gotten into a show as much as this, but there's been stuff that I've watched where I still had questions after it. This is one of the few shows and few types of media that I've watched and not had a question on it after. Like, I was just like, yeah, like I was speechless after. I didn't even know what to say. I don't know if I should just start freaking out or just kind of sit there. I just kind of sat there like, that was good. That was real good. And then yeah. Anyway, this was a really great show. And it's really sad to see it go, but this is what Bryan Cranston actually said. He said, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. And in a way, I'm kind of like that now. At first, I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of like, what should I do? But now I'm kind of sitting here and I'm just smiling because I'm glad that the show, ended on a high note. It ended on, when the show's really good, not like Dexter. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Dexter, about what happened. But I'm glad the show ended on a really high note, on a good note, and I'm really glad, everything got tied together. There were a couple things, like, you don't really know what happens to Marie. You can just kind of say she goes on and lives her life. Jesse, kind of the same. You could just kind of say he goes on, lives his life. Kind of a little cliffhanger and ending for him, but mainly it's a good thing because he's still alive, and yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed these reviews that I've been doing. I'm gonna start uploading more gameplay soon. I got a bunch of Fallout, but I might do something else. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys enjoy Breaking Bad as much as I do. Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.